to observe the body, to notice what's going on, what your mind is doing, how your breath is, whether it's kind of fast and shallow, or whether actually it's feeling quite relaxed already. And take your right hand to your belly, left hand to your heart, and just allow that physical contact to help you check in, to help establish that connection. And we'll begin by just counting a few breaths in and out, but including a pause at the top where I'd really like everyone to focus on seeing if just for that moment we can calm and still the mind. So breathing in for 3, 1, 2, 3, pause, exhaling, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3. Pause. Exhaling, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding. Exhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pausing. Exhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go up one more time. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding. Exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pausing. Exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just carrying on with a few more rounds of breathing, counting the breath in, pausing, exhaling, counting the breath out. Thoughts come in on the way in and the way out. Let them come in, watch them, but really focus on that moment of stillness at the top, of just letting the mind quiet and calm. Counting at your own pace, letting the pace of your own breath guide you. Whenever you're ready, bringing the breath back to neutral again, our even inhales and exhales, and we'll all meet in child's pose to begin today. So taking your knees wide on the mat, stretching your hands out as far as they can go, nice wide fingers. Stretching, stretching, stretching. Inhaling, rising up. Exhaling, lowering the forehead down to the mat. Rubbing your forehead, moving it side to side, massaging out anything that you're holding on to from the day, thinking about what's to come, before coming to stillness, keeping that nice active stretch, and just being with Balasana, child's pose. Come to tabletop. Coming to all fours here. Making sure the weight is even on the right and left hand side of the body. Making sure as well that your weight is evenly distributed between the hands and the knees. Gazing just in front of your fingers. Stretch your right hand out. Stretching your left leg back nice and straight, beginning to engage the core. Holding there, gazing to your front hand, and then taking it back down to the mat. Left arm extends. Right leg stretches out. Really making sure that they're nice and parallel with the ground. Gaze into your front fingers. Engaging the core, maybe feel a little bit of wobbles here. And then coming back to center. This time, inhale, right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Gaze follows. And then swoop it down underneath the left arm. Thread the needle. Right ear goes down towards the mat. And you might like to stay here, or maybe stretch your left arm out in front. Maybe stretch your left leg out too, really feeling that twist. Again, option to stay wherever you are, or if you fancy having a bit of a play around, seeing if we can lift that leg. See if you can take the hand to the foot. You might wobble, you might fall here, but we're close to the ground anyway. Coming back to center. Releasing. Seeing how we get on there. And then inhaling, we'll try again on the other side, lifting the left arm up. Stretching up and gazing towards those top fingertips before swooping it down underneath the right arm. Thread the needle on the opposite side. Left ear goes down to the mat. Either staying here and just enjoying that twist, or perhaps stretching the front arm out. Stretching the right leg out, really feeling that stretch along the body. Either staying here or having a go, lifting that back leg, taking it with the front arm, keeping the balance. We might wobble over, we might not. Staying there before coming back to center. Back to tabletop, moving your hips in a clockwise direction. Nice big round circles. Just waking up the body. Trying to move with the breath. So maybe inhaling as you come up. Exhaling as you go round and back. Eyes open or eyes closed, whatever suits you best. When you get to the front, going back the other way, anti-clockwise. Noticing any areas of the body that you might want to kind of push a little more into. Listening to your breath, letting it guide your movements. Before coming back to center, tucking the toes under, gazing just in front of your fingers, lifting the knees just an inch off the floor. We're going to hover here for 3, for 2, for 1, before lifting up, downward facing dog. As your first downward facing dog of the class, feel free just again to move in any way that kind of feels good to you here, whether taking a really deep bend in the knees, pedaling out the legs, maybe even moving the hips. It's completely up to you. Your yoga, always your choice. Finding your way into this downward facing dog, stretching through the arms, through the spine, lifting the hips, pressing them towards the back of the mat, letting the heels sink down, nice and soft through the neck. Take one big breath in, exhale. Gaze to the front of your mat. Walk your feet forward nice and slowly, slowly, slowly. Once you get to the front, opposite hands take opposite elbows. Ragdoll position. Dropping your head. Lengthening through the spine. Shaking your neck, yes. Shaking the head, no. Keeping a gentle bend in the knees. Bring that torso closer to the thigh. Release the hands. And we'll all rise up together. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Hands going along the legs. When you get to the top, head and neck, being the last things to rise, moving your shoulders up and back. Inhaling up, right hand takes the left wrist, pull it over your head, stretching the left hand side of the body. Inhale, hands go up to the center. Left hand takes right wrist. Exhale over. Inhale back to center. Exhale, stretch over. Right hand takes left wrist. Inhale, center. Exhale, stretch opposite direction. Inhale back to center. Hands go down, really stretching out, taking up space. Tadasana, mountain pose. And we're going to start with just a few rounds of Surya Namaskar A, our sun salutation A, to start waking up, warming up the body. As always, always, always in your yoga, you take a break whenever you need one. It is only ever guidance as well. So listen to your own body, your own breath throughout. But we'll begin making sure the feet facing the front, hands facing forward, palms open. Inhale, hands reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice flat back, parallel with the floor. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, rise up all the way up. Exhale, hands go wide, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, shoulders pressing into the spine. Exhale, hands go down to the mat. Right foot steps back, followed by the left. Exhale, lowering down through either chaturanga or dropping the knees as you go. Inhaling, cobra, forearms down. Exhaling, lowering down. Pressing back up, downward facing dog. Gaze to the front of your mat. Hop, step, or jump your feet, however you want to get them to the front. Inhale, rise up, hands go up. Exhale, back to Tadasana, mountain pose. One sun salutation A. And we go again. Inhale, hands rise. Exhale, hands go out, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, hands go down to the mat. Left foot steps back, followed by the right. Exhale, lowering down, either knees or chaturanga dandasana. Inhaling, cobra or upward facing dog with arms straight, thighs lifted. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gazing to the front of the mat once more, focusing on these transitions, bending the knees, really looking at where you want to go, hopping, stepping, jumping to the front. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, Tadasana. One more time, our third and final sun salutation A. Inhaling, hands go up. Exhaling, bow down. Inhaling, halfway lift. Hands go down to the mat. This time, stepping or jumping the feet back. Exhaling, lowering down. Nice straight body as we go. Inhaling, cobra or upward facing dog. Gazing to the front wherever you are. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Lifting the hips. That lovely inverted V shape. Either holding downward facing dog, or if it's ever sort of too much, I know a lot of people find this a sort of tricky pose to hold. Feel free to come down to tabletop anytime, even taking a child's pose. But from here, we're just going to take 3 big breaths. Inhaling, breathing in. Exhaling, sighing out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Coming back to the present, breathing in. Breathing out. Gazing to the front of your mat once more. Bending the knees, setting your direction of travel, hopping, stepping forwards. Inhaling, rising up. Exhaling, bowing down. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to transition to our sun salutation B's here. So coming to Utkatasana from there, chair pose. Making sure we've got no sort of naughty knees coming in front of the toes. Checking that we can just about see the toes. Hands lifting up. Finding your edge, how deep or how high you choose your Utkatasana today. Staying for 3, for 2, for 1. Exhaling, bowing down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, hands go down to the front of the mat. Right leg steps back, followed by the left. Exhaling, lowering down, knees or full chaturanga, your choice every time. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. This time, step your right leg through to the front of your mat. We're going to rise up to warrior 1. Keeping that nice bend in your front knee, making sure the knee never overshoots the ankle. Back foot about 45 degrees out, nice and flat on the mat. Hips, taking your hands to your hips, making sure they're facing forwards. Strong foundation through the legs, rising up through the core, through the spine, setting a steady gaze. Holding this pose just slightly longer than we might normally, just to start to observe how it feels, what's going on. For exhaling, taking the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, lifting the chest up, preparing for humble warrior. Exhaling, folding down, head goes inside of that front leg. Just letting the body drop down. Letting gravity do the work here. Holding there. Before rising all the way back up. Warrior 1. Exhaling, hands go down to the mat. Right foot meets the left. Exhaling, lowering down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Warrior 1 on the left hand side, left foot steps through. Rise up. Adjusting your stance as necessary. Maybe taking a bit wider than you might usually. A bit longer. A bit shorter even. Up to you. Hands rise up. Hips facing forwards. Focusing on rising from the ground up, strong through the feet, through the legs, strong through the core. Noticing how this pose might feel different on the left side than it did on the right. Taking hands behind you, interlacing the fingers, lifting the chest. Exhaling, humble warrior, bowing the head down inside of that left leg. Just hanging out here, noticing what's going on. Before rising back up, warrior 1. Exhaling, hands going back down to the mat. The left foot steps back to meet the right. And then everybody pressing back to a child's pose here. Giving yourself just a bit of a break. Big breath in. Exhaling. Remembering it's completely up to you how far you push each pose. when you take a break, when you go for it. One more breath in. Exhale. And then lift up back to downward facing dog. Lifting the hips. Lengthening through the backs of the legs. Really feeling that stretch. The more you lift the hips, the more you feel like someone's kind of pushing against your lower back towards the back of the mat. That's what I'd be doing in person if we were here. Moving the legs. And then taking the right leg, stepping it through to the front of the mat. Crescent lunge. So this is really just a high lunge. Both feet facing forwards. Nice and strong through the back leg. Inhaling, hands reach up. Exhaling, hands go to heart. Left elbow comes down. We'll come to a twist here. Taking the left elbow towards the front knee. If it doesn't quite get there, it's just our direction of travel. Holding that before arms going back up. Opening out, warrior two. Warrior two, the back foot should be about parallel with the back of the mat. Keeping that nice bend. Gaze to your front finger. Holding the pose. Finding that stillness, that observation. And then exhaling, hands going down to your mat. Right foot stepping back to meet the left. Exhaling, lowering down, knees or chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Or cobra, really pushing that chest through. Exhaling, lifting back up, downward facing dog. Left foot steps through, crescent lunge on the left. Inhaling, rising up, 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 energy going up, wiggling your fingertips towards the ceiling, looking in front of you. Before taking hands to heart, bringing that energy back inwards. And then exhaling, twisting. Right elbow goes down to the front knee or towards it, just the direction of travel. Twisting towards the left. Rising back up, crescent lunge. Opening out, warrior two. Hands to the front and back of your mat. Gazing to the front finger. Holding there. Before exhaling, hands coming down, windmilling down to the front of the mat. Left leg steps back to meet the right. Exhaling, lowering down. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Remembering we can skip a vinyasa if ever we like. Your yoga, your choice. Gazing to the front of the mat. Bending the knees, stepping the feet towards the front, stepping, hopping, jumping. Inhaling, hands go up, all the way up. Exhaling, Tadasana, opening out. Resetting, maybe giving your legs a little shake, moving the hips, giving yourself a pat on the back for coming to your yoga. Lovely. Lovely. All right. And what we'll do is come to the second part of our vitality sequence, these sort of twists, is coming to chair pose. So Utkatasana again. Hands go up. Sitting down. It doesn't always have to be like the deepest one. Really focus on how you feel you want to do chair pose today. Taking hands to heart. Either staying here or gently trying to twist towards the right hand side. So left elbow going down to right knee. Gazing up towards your right elbow. Holding there. Before coming back to center. Hands go up. Exhaling, hands to heart. Right elbow goes down, left elbow lifts, twisting in the opposite direction. Holding there before coming back to Utkatasana. And then standing all the way up, extending your arms. Forward fold, nice and slowly, slowly, slowly. When you get there, entirely your choice on what forward fold you want to do. Whether that's your sort of yogi toe lock, which is taking your first two fingers and wrapping them around your big toes. Just allowing yourself to kind of gently pull a bit further into that forward fold. That's one option. If that doesn't feel comfortable, just taking your hands to your legs. Maybe just hands slightly behind the legs. Holding down. Or even experimenting with gorilla pose, which is having your palms facing upwards, sliding them underneath your feet with the aim getting your toes close to your wrist and just feeling that pull along the spine, rocking ever so gently forwards and backwards. Whether you're in gorilla or a toe lock or hands to legs, inhaling, rising up slowly, 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 vertebrae by vertebrae. Lovely. When we get there, moving the shoulders once again, coming to equanimity, finding that balance. So really focusing on whether your weight is evenly spread from each foot, lifting your toes up, placing them back down on the mat, feet facing forwards, palms open, Tadasana once again. From here, from gorilla, we come to eagle, the animal poses today. Lift your right leg up in front of you. We're going to see if we can sort of ravel it over and round the left leg as far as you get round, and then taking the arms in front of you. Right arm goes under the left with the aim of twisting, 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 sort of wrapping yourself up almost in a pretzel shape. Palms coming towards each other. If palms don't touch, well, that's feeling like that's sort of not possible at the moment. That is totally fine too. We can just keep the right leg over, twisting the arms, holding there, seeing we can play with the balance, blending that standing leg, Keeping the elbows raised before coming back to center. Shaking out the hips. Coming to the other side. Lifting left leg up. Twisting it over and round the standing leg as far as we can, or just simply taking it over the thigh. Left arm this time under the right. Straight out in front of you, twisting round. Elbows lifting up. Lowering down through the standing leg. Holding there. Before coming back to center. Well done. Shaking out the hips. And then rising that right leg once more. But this time kicking it all the way back behind you. Coming to warrior 3. Challenging the balance, trying to find that center point again. So hands out in front. Back leg as close to parallel with the mat as we can get it. Engaging through the core. Gaze to your front fingers. Remembering to breathe, remembering to give yourself a bit of a smile, having a play around with it. And then coming back to center. Inhaling, hands go up. Moving the legs anywhere you need. Exhaling, resetting back down. Warrior 3 on the left. So lifting your left leg this time. Shooting it back towards the back of your mat, really flexing the foot. Engaging the core. Charging up those fingertips and the toes. Gazing in between the fingers. And then left leg calming down, focusing on that transition. Back to Tadasana. Big breath in. Exhaling out. Come to take your hands to your waist and step so that you're facing the side of your mat. Coming to a wide-legged forward fold from those balancing poses. Coming to more grounding ones, taking your legs as wide as you feel comfortable. Toes slightly pointing in, lifting the chest up. Exhaling, folding down, hinging from the hips. Letting the head drop. Maybe when you get there, you might even play around with moving the legs out slightly more. Letting the hands drop down to the ground. If you're at the stage where your head is nearly touching the floor, that's the point that you can play around, coming to tripod headstands and things like that. We're not there yet, just focusing on kind of thinking about that lovely pull down through the spine, through the neck. Staying in the present. Being with the breath. Pressing back upwards. Gonna heel toe the feet in towards each other. So we come back to standing, rising up again, slowly, slowly, slowly. Hands come to hips. And then we face the front of the mat once more. And inhale, hands go up, nice and stretching upwards. Exhaling, bowing down, resetting. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, hands going down to the mat. Right foot stepping back, followed by the left. And then we come to high plank. I'd just like you to have a play around with seeing if we can hold this pose, finesse this pose a little bit, rather than kind of letting hips go down or even too high. It's called essentially Chaturanga Dandasana because it's four-limbed staff pose. So we want to think of the body as being nice and long and straight, with each point of your hands and your feet really grounding down into the earth. Gazing in front of you, engaging the core, and then exhaling, lowering down, down, down to the ground. Shaking out the hips when you get there, moving in any way that feels good. And we're going to come to locust pose here. So taking the hands behind you, palms facing down to the ground. We'll start by just lifting the head and the chest off the mat. Exhaling, lowering them down. This time inhaling, chest lifts, head lifts, maybe arms as well. Gazing to the front. Exhaling, lowering down. Great one for strengthening the lower back here. Inhaling, this time feet lift, maybe calves lift, maybe even thighs. Exhaling back down. This time we're going to see if we can lift everything at once. Inhaling, head, chest, arms, legs, gazing in front. Exhaling back down. One more time, inhaling, lifting up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhaling back down. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Press back to child's pose. Give yourself a bit of rest in the counter posture to whenever we encounter back bends, more energetic poses. All about finding that balance between softness and strength. Big breath in. Exhaling, resetting, coming to the next moment. Walk your hands back up towards you. And just come to one side, swing your legs so they come all the way round to the front of your mat. And then bend your knees, feet on the floor, nice and firmly rooted. And then we'll take our hands out in front. Playing around with Navasana, boat pose here as well. And so what we'll do here, stretch the fingers. Option 1. Option 2, lifting the legs. Holding them. Option 3, if you're feeling particularly energetic, straightening the legs, straightening the hands. Wherever we are. Option 3, option 2, option 1. Holding that before coming back to seated. Extending the hands. And then slowly, slowly, slowly coming back to lie down on the mat. Moving the knees side to side. Once you come back to center, clasping the hands between, sort of interlacing the fingers underneath the back, lifting the hips. And this is coming to bridge pose here. So we want to keep those feet planted, lift the hips up, and see if you can kind of walk the shoulder blades in towards each other, whether that gives you any more lift in the hips. Holding here before lowering back down. We're going to do 3 bridge poses together. If wheel is something that you're working with, feel free to have a go doing wheels as well. The invitation is there. If not, stick with me, interlacing the fingers, lifting the hips, walking the shoulder blades in together, really engaging the thighs, remembering to breathe, exhaling, lowering down. One more time, your last bridge or wheel. Inhaling, lifting the hips. Lifting, lifting, lifting. Exhaling, lowering back down. Releasing that hold on the arms. Stretching the legs out. Taking your hands behind you, really stretching out the body. Moving your fingertips, moving your feet. And then bringing your right knee into the chest. Letting your right hand come down to meet it. Coming to a supine twist, letting the right knee fall out to the side. Right arm goes out to the opposite direction. Gazing towards your right fingertips. Sort of aim of travel is getting that right shoulder down as close as we can to the ground. Letting the right knee drop as well. This isn't something to kind of force. It's just something to allow the body to gradually relax into. Observe where we are now. And just work with the pose sort of week on week, month on month. Coming back to center. Noticing whether one side of the body might feel different than the other after that twist. Taking the left knee in towards the chest. Right hand guides it out towards the right side. Left arm stretches out to the left. Gazing towards the left-hand side of the body this time. Noticing the rise and fall of the breath. Relaxing the muscles. Just being with your supine twist. Coming back to center. This time, take the soles of your feet to touch. Knees dropping out wide. Just letting the hips open. And taking your right hand to your belly. Left hand to your heart. Big, deep breath in. Long, slow exhale. Noticing how the mind, how the body might feel different now than when you started. It might not. There might be changes in the way you feel you're lying on the floor. You may have the same familiar points of tension, whether it's changed, whether it's stayed the same. Simply observe. Release your hands. Stretch your feet out on the mat. We're coming to Shavasana, your final resting pose, today's yoga. So at this point, if you want to grab a jumper, a blanket or socks, please do feel free. Or if you're okay where you are, please feel free just to stay there too. Just bringing your eyes to a gentle close. Feet hanging out wide. Long through the neck. Chin gently tucked. And for today, we're really focusing on this idea, coming into the present. Just focus on any thoughts that might be coming into your mind. Simply observe them like a tourist. Let them arise and let them go again. Come back to your breath. That inhalation, exhalation. Anytime you need it, to anchor yourself. And imagine your mind as being clear, just like a clear blue sky. Imagine the sun shining down on you through that clear sky. Your awareness being open, expansive, untroubled. It's like the big blue open space. Sometimes clouds fill the sky and they obscure the sunshine. The sky itself doesn't get upset, doesn't identify with these clouds. It doesn't judge. It just simply is. Let the clouds, your thoughts, pass through this spaciousness. They come and they go. They arise and they pass. Your mind, the sky, your thoughts, ideas, emotions, clouds just passing through. Come back to your breath. Simply observing, coming into and leaving the body. Concentrating your awareness on clarity and space and bliss. And with the simple gratitude that you are here in your own space, taking the time to care for yourself, helping us to go out in the world and care for others in turn. Start to bring just a gentle bit of movement back in to your body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe stretching out if that feels good to you, and just roll over onto whichever side feels best. Your right or left side, hugging the knees in, taking just one moment there before pressing back up to seated. As you go, keeping the eyes shut if you can, coming to a cross-legged position, keeping that focus inwards, rising your hands to your heart, rising them up to your forehead. With an open heart and an open mind, namaste. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining today, as always. Namaste. I hope the minds are feeling cloud-free.